Good afternoon, ladies, to the gentlemen, to the boys, to the girls. It's your host, your guy himself. I'm back again. Yes, I said it, back again. DLG Repping on channel DLG Repping. Yeah? Or channel YouTube. My channel, DLG Repping. You hear that? I know I said it 3 times. Sorry, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Just excited again to be back. I thought I wasn't going to be back at all, but I am. I'm back well and safe and sound. So, where do I get started? I'm going to start on, I'm going to talk about Sean Dyche's appointment. Sean Dyche's appointment. I'm going to talk about Sean Dyche. He's been in it's an article here stating that he's it says here the headline: Sean not cooking on gas. Sean Dyche is worried his Burnley team could be undercooked when they return to action this month. Well, sounds like they're not prepared, and it sounds like they've either not been preparing or the fitness levels are not at the standard required. I'll read on. The Clarets have the okay to organise friendlies over the next couple of weeks. Now that will be interesting. That will be nice to see how up to fitness they are. If they're mentally and physically prepared for the restart of the Premier League campaign. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sean Dyche's management methods are based on defensive organisation and discipline, and you can see at times why Burnley are so difficult to beat, especially at home. And this is the reason why they have more than every chance of staying up and playing Premier League football next season. And Sean Dyche has made sure that he has a philosophy. I mean, individuals, they have not got a single top-class player, let alone world-class. But they are a good cohesive unit, especially defensively, when they're solidly organised and strictly disciplined. But they would have played a fewer games than a normal pre-season by the time they visit Manchester City on June 22. That will be 15 weeks after the previous competitive game, a 1-1 draw against Spurs on March 7. Dyche said, "We're quite happy with fitness levels, and now it's getting your eye in and the sharpness. That's going to be the most difficult bit, because in a pre-season scenario, which this kind of is, you'd normally have as many as five friendlies. You wouldn't play every minute of them, but you'd certainly play 3 90 minutes and maybe 4 in this scenario. You're looking at more like 2 after quite a long break. This is the challenge. Dyche is hoping to line up a friendly next weekend, should I say, just a few days before the restart." Yeah, I think it'll be ideal to have a friendly, at least one friendly. You know, you get a rough idea of how sharp the players look and how prepared as well for the restart of the season. Now, Burnley fans, are you hoping to compete at the top end of the table next season? If you are, then if you are and you're listening and tuning in, please leave your comments below in the comment section. Thank you. Moving on in other news, now we have a gentleman who was part of England 1966 World Cup team. He goes by the name of Harold Shepherdson. And for those of you that don't know who Harold Shepherdson is, he played a key role in England's 1966 World Cup triumph, and he was the right-hand man to Sir Alf Ramsey. Right, I'm going to read on here. I'm going to read some bits that I've highlighted. You have won this game once. Now go out and win it again. So basically, there was a full-time team talk before going into extra time, and England were 2-1 up. They conceded an equaliser, and I believe it was 2-2 by the start of the extra time. And I think it was said by Shepherdson that they were 2-0 up, and now you go out and win the game. And Alan Ball was left quite frustrated, or he was in tears. One of the two. I'm going to read on here. This extra time is our own fault. Now let's go. Now let's get cracking and stop moaning. We've got to go and win this. It was said by Nobby Stoles. Yeah, I think Nobby Stoles said this to his teammates. These are the words. So Shepperton had a big part to play in England winning the World Cup with a young team of men, should I say. And Alan Ball and Nobby Stoles were part of it. And I'm going to read a little bit here. In extra time, the whole team were magnificent. The third goal lifted the lads and the crowd, but then there was the agonising possibility it may be disallowed. Silence ensured until the Russian linesman eventually judged it was over the line. The relief was pardonable. Then Jeff Hurst scored a fourth following a brilliant pass from Bobby Moore. Sums up the man. Terrific defender. At that era, at that moment of time, he was the best centre-half in the world football. And even in that 1970 game in the quarterfinals against Brazil in Mexico, he's the only one I can think of that marked Pelé out of the game. I mean, if you've got anything to say about Harold Shepherdson, Harold Shepherdson, yeah. If you've got anything to say about Harold Shepherdson, for those of you that remember me better than I do, then drop me your comments below. I was born in 81, so I won't have too fond of a memory. I can do some researches and get bits about him, but there's loads of you out there, still out there, alive to this day to talk about the 1966 story. Then if you want to voice your views and your opinions, and just give me your conversation, and I'll have a conversation with you. I'll try to. Yeah, just leave it in the comment section below. And while you're doing that, drive the thumbs up like button for me, and passionately subscribe to my channel, left, right, and centre. I say it every day, all the time. And I'll get back to you here. Yeah, but the main thing is to support my channel and subscribe to DLG Repping, yeah? Right, moving on. Then Jeff scored a fourth. I read that. The final whistle. At last, I jumped to my feet, overcome with pride, joy, and excitement, should I say. Only for Alf to turn to me and say, "Sit down, Harold, and calm yourself down." Oh, it was so for Alf Ramsey, no nonsense man. You know, he'd even tell a man he told Harold Shepherdson to sit down. You know, and calm himself down. Can you imagine that? But you're trying to tell the manager at the time, we've just won the World Cup. But the man himself, Alf Ramsey, telling Mr. Shepherdson to sit down. Wow. For my money, Alan Ball was the man of the match, but every man played his part. Alf was the architect of this fantastic achievement. He left nothing to chance. Together, our job had been to make the individual players work as one unit, and we had succeeded in our task. We had taken our opportunity to win the Jules Rimet Trophy and become world champions. We did it with a team remarkable. We did it with a team of remarkable young men, and who had an incredible bond. The typical of the spirit within the ranks was that after the match, the subject of sharing the 22,000 bonus the FA had allocated the players came up. Alf, as usual, had devised a scheme that was, in his view, fair to everyone. Well, when he meant by that, yeah, when he said fair to everyone was, every player in the 22-man squad at the time had £1,000 each to take home with them because of their success in the World Cup. And, well, it all summed it up when England lifted that famous Jules Rimet trophy. And it was a glorious day for English football. Make no mistake about it, even though I'm talking about something that happened 54 years ago, long before I was thought of. In fact, long before my mum even thought of coming from Nigeria to England. But there you go. Or should I say, and my dad as well, both of my parents. Even thought, long before both of my parents even thought about coming over from Nigeria to England. But there you go. You learn something new every day, they say. And moving on from England's World Cup triumph of '66 to the current reality. And Sheffield United's manager, Chris Wilder, who could be a future England manager, by the way, that's my opinion. He says he aims to reward the stay-at-home fans by leading Sheffield United into Europe for the first time. I'm going to read some more here. The Blades are heading into their most important 10 games for 30 years, but coronavirus means supporters will not be there to cheer them on. Boss Wilder said, our fans deserve to be rewarded for the fantastic backing they give us, and watching their team play in the Champions or Europa League would be some consolation. We would all rather not be in this position of people not being able to come into the stadiums. We're all going to be missing out on some amazing experiences, such as going to Newcastle in front of a full house, and when Chelsea and Tottenham come to our ground. The Blades also face Arsenal in the FA Cup quarter-final on June 28, and Wilder added, the bigger picture is we finish the season and finish what we have started. I couldn't ever agree with him anymore. I couldn't disagree with him there. Completely correct. He is completely correct. So for me, it's all down to how they finish off the season and the manner they finish off the season. And it's a shame the fans won't be in the terraces to cheer them on, home or away. But however, the players know what Chris Wilder is all about and what he requires. So some of them players, or the bulk of the players who played under him in the Championship last season, would know how Chris Wilder sets up and how motivated and enthusiastic they needed to be under him. So that's all that I need to say on that. And Chris Wilder, if he doesn't get manager of the season, it's because Jurgen Klopp will get it for winning Liverpool's first league title in 30 years. So there you are. That's my football roundup here. I'm going to end it here. Just to let you know, ladies, to the gentlemen, to the boys, to the girls. It's been an honour to talk to you all over the world. And I thank you all for tuning in, and I thank you all for listening. So it's your guy, your host, GLG repping. I'm calling it an end here, and I'll be back this evening. See you later.